I was at work when the message came through, simple, cold, and direct. I want a divorce. Let's just split everything 50-50 and move on. No warning, no argument leading up to it. Just those words lighting up my phone screen like a bomb ticking in my hand. I stared at it for a long minute. My heart didn't even race. It just paused. Everything between us, all those years, the memories, the inside jokes, the late-night talks, the plans, we were going to throw it all away like it was just some business deal? But I didn't argue. I didn't text back asking why. I didn't beg for a second chance or try to talk her out of it. Instead, I typed 2 words. Absolutely. That's when things started shifting. I think she expected a fight, expected me to react like the man she had known, the man who would do anything to fix what was broken. But I was tired. Not just of her. Of pretending things were okay when they hadn't been for a long time. So I agreed. Calmly. And that's when I made my move. She didn't know what I knew. She didn't know I had spent the last few months putting pieces together, quietly. She didn't know I'd been watching her patterns change, catching the little lies, noticing the new passwords, the long drives with no explanation. And I definitely didn't let on that I'd already consulted a lawyer and started preparing, just in case. So when she said 50-50, I smiled to myself. She thought she had the upper hand. She thought she was walking away clean, maybe even smug that she beat me to the punch. But I had already protected what mattered most to me. And I had receipts, screenshots, audio, witness statements. I wasn't going to throw it in her face. I didn't have to. I let her lead the way. Told her I'd be fair. Told her I just wanted peace. And while she moved forward thinking she was in control, I played my part perfectly. Polite. Cooperative. Almost too agreeable. Then, everything changed. The moment she got the final email from my lawyer, outlining the true terms of what a fair split looked like, what she was actually entitled to, what she would lose because of the choices she thought she had hidden, her phone must have dropped out of her hands. That's when the calls started. 26 missed calls in the span of a few hours. 32 texts. Some angry. Some begging. Some straight up panicked. The last one simply read, "You set me up." She had no idea what hit her. But I didn't lie. I just agreed to what she asked for, and made sure the truth was finally part of the conversation. And the best part? I haven't even told her everything yet. Because there's still one piece she doesn't know, one final move I've been saving, and when she finds out, she'll realize this wasn't just about divorce. It was about finally waking up. And walking away, for good. I met her 8 years ago on a random Tuesday at a friend's get-together. She wasn't supposed to be there. She came as someone's plus one, wearing a light blue hoodie and barely any makeup, holding a cup of soda like she didn't want to be noticed. But I noticed her. Something about the way she stayed quiet, how her eyes moved carefully around the room like she was trying to read everyone before she spoke. We talked for an hour that night, just the two of us, in a corner near the kitchen. She told me she was finishing school, working part-time as a barista, and didn't really trust people easily. I should have paid more attention to that last part. Our relationship moved fast. Within a year we were living together, splitting rent, doing late-night grocery runs, planning trips we couldn't afford, but taking them anyway. She made life feel lighter back then. She laughed at my dumbest jokes, left sticky notes on the mirror when she left for work, held my hand under the table during awkward family dinners. I thought we were building something real. The wedding was simple, nothing fancy. Just close friends, cheap wine, and her favorite band playing on someone's Bluetooth speaker. I remember watching her dance barefoot in the backyard, her dress slightly muddy at the bottom from the grass, and thinking, this is it. This is the person I'll grow old with. But something changed, slowly at first. It's always like that, isn't it? You don't wake up one day and everything's different. It's more like, the temperature shifts by a few degrees every day until one day, you look around and realize you're freezing. It started with the late work nights. Then came the silent dinners. Fewer hugs. Fewer smiles. The sticky notes stopped. So did the hand-holding. She got a new phone and suddenly started keeping it face down on the table. I'd walk into a room and she'd tuck it away like she was protecting something. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. I kept telling myself I was overthinking. That she was just tired. That work was stressful. But deep down I knew. One night she left her phone in the bathroom. I didn't mean to go through it, I really didn't. But something in me cracked. I opened it. No password. I wish there had been. There weren't any explicit messages. Nothing you could call cheating on paper. But it was worse than that. It was the slow build-up. Flirty emojis. Long message threads with a guy named Jay. A few inside jokes. A photo she had taken at home, wearing a top she told me she didn't like anymore, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. That's when I started documenting everything. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed to protect myself. My gut told me something was coming. So I started taking screenshots. Kept a journal. Collected receipts. Took photos of bank statements. Logged her comings and goings, even when she didn't know. And then, a few weeks ago, I heard her on the phone late at night. Whispering. Laughing. She was in the laundry room with the door closed. I stood on the other side, listening. I didn't catch the full conversation, but I heard enough. She said something about being done with the pretending. Something about just making it clean. I lay awake that night staring at the ceiling, heart pounding. And the next morning, she made pancakes like nothing happened. So when her text finally came in saying she wanted a divorce, I wasn't shocked. If anything, it felt like confirmation. Like the final puzzle piece slipping into place. But what she didn't know was that while she was busy planning her clean exit, I'd already set up meetings. I had already locked certain assets, rerouted my paychecks, talked to legal professionals, and quietly updated my accounts. She wanted 50-50? That was cute. There were things she didn't know she couldn't touch, investments she didn't even know existed because they were under a business account I created 2 years ago. A quiet little LLC I used to channel some freelance work I started on the side. She thought it was a hobby. It wasn't. I played it all cool. Met with her for coffee, nodded like a good guy, told her I understood, told her I didn't want to fight. I could see the relief on her face. She was so sure I'd roll over. She even hugged me before leaving that cafe like we were just two mature adults parting ways with mutual respect. But when my lawyer sent her the draft, it was a different story. It wasn't aggressive. Just honest. Transparent. Fair on paper. But it laid out exactly what she had done. Quietly. Professionally. No emotion. Just the truth. And that's when her meltdown started. The calls came in back to back. First a few missed ones. Then a text. Can we talk? Then another. This is not what we agreed on. I didn't answer. Then she tried calling from another number. Then her sister texted me. Then her friend. I stayed silent. The part that made me pause, though, was the voice message she left at 2:17 a.m. Her voice was shaking. You set me up. You knew. You planned this. How long were you planning this? Were you even real? That question hit me hard. Were you even real? I wanted to yell back that I was. That I loved her. That I believed in us. That I held on for longer than I should have, hoping she'd come back. But I didn't say any of that. Because maybe I wasn't the only one pretending. And now, the craziest part? I still haven't told her about the one thing that would break this whole story wide open. The detail I've kept hidden not out of spite, but because I'm still deciding if I want to use it. It's not illegal. It's not revenge. It's just something she never thought I'd find. Because buried in our shared cloud storage, I found a folder she forgot to hide. Hidden under boring file names, taxes, receipts, meal plans, was a screen recording. 10 minutes long. Her and Jay. A conversation that changed everything. I haven't opened it fully. Just a few seconds. But that's all I needed. Her voice, soft and serious, saying, He still has no idea. I saved it. Backed it up. I didn't show it to the lawyer. Not yet. Because that's the thing, this was never about catching her red-handed. It was about clarity. About truth. About finally seeing what I refused to see for so long. And now, while she scrambles, calling everyone, trying to fix a mess she thought she could control, I'm here. Calm. Watching. Waiting. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. It's letting someone think they won, right before they realize they were the only one playing the wrong game. But make no mistake. I haven't played my final card yet. A few days passed with silence on my end, but the noise from her side only got louder. She sent long paragraphs, some angry, some desperate. She even tried flipping the story, calling me cold and calculated, saying I blindsided her, as if she hadn't been slowly pulling away for over a year. Her messages had a kind of panic that made me pause. Not because I felt sorry, but because I could see something deeper unraveling behind her words. Maybe guilt. Maybe fear. Or maybe just the shock of finally losing control. Then came the unexpected twist. Her mom called me. Now, let me tell you, her mom never liked me. From the beginning, she always thought her daughter settled for someone too simple, too stable. I wasn't flashy, didn't come from money, didn't have the kind of career that impressed her. But now, she was on the phone telling me how sorry she was for everything. She said she didn't know the full story, that her daughter was confused, and regretting how things turned out. I listened quietly, trying to read between the lines. It wasn't just a call to apologize. It was a warning. She knew something more. Maybe even more than I did. That night, I dug a little deeper into the shared accounts we still hadn't officially split. That's when I found it. Multiple transfers to a personal PayPal account under her name. Small amounts, regular patterns, all just under the radar. When I followed the breadcrumb trail, it led to a name I didn't recognize. I searched it online. Turned out to be a guy from out of state. No ties to her work. No mutual friends. But he was connected to Jay. It wasn't just an emotional affair anymore. I started to see the bigger picture. This wasn't just her leaving. This was her planning something, and maybe it wasn't just about splitting assets. Maybe there was a reason she pushed for a quick, quiet divorce. Maybe someone was coaching her. Or maybe someone else was in the background with a bigger motive. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind kept spinning, trying to piece together the timeline. Her late nights. The secret folder. The voice messages. The transfers. And then the sudden panic once she realized I wasn't reacting the way she expected. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, someone she never knew I was close to, reached out. He used to work with her briefly at her old job. Said he saw her having lunch with Jay more than once, even long before the problem started at home. Said they were close. Said he thought something was off back then, but didn't want to say anything. Everything was starting to connect. But the thing that kept me awake the most wasn't what she did. It was the question that kept coming back. How much of our life together was real? And worse, what if I was just part of someone else's plan the whole time? And if that's true, what exactly were they planning next? I barely slept after that night. My mind was buzzing, like I was standing on the edge of something big but couldn't quite see what was ahead. I had questions piling up with no clean answers. Who was this guy, Jay, really? How long had this been going on? And most of all, what were they after? It didn't feel like just a broken marriage anymore. It felt like something calculated. A trap, maybe? Or a setup that almost worked, if I hadn't paid attention. I went quiet on her again. No replies. No reaction. That's when she started showing up. The first time was outside my apartment. She didn't knock. Just stood near my car, pretending she was on the phone. I stayed upstairs, watching through the curtain. She looked different, nervous, fidgety, like she wasn't sure what to do next. She left after 10 minutes. I didn't move. 2 nights later, she tried again. This time she knocked, soft at first, then louder. "Please," she said through the door. "Can we just talk?" Her voice cracked like she was about to cry, but I didn't open. Not yet. The next morning, I got an email from my bank about suspicious activity. Someone had tried to access one of my backup accounts. It was flagged and blocked, thank God, but I knew it wasn't a coincidence. Only a handful of people knew that account existed. She was one of them. That's when the panic hit me. This wasn't about emotions anymore. This was about control, financial, personal, everything. And I wasn't even sure if I was dealing with just her anymore. It felt bigger. Like someone else was pulling the strings. Maybe that's what scared me most, not knowing who I was really fighting. I decided it was time to protect myself, fully. I contacted a lawyer. Not just a divorce lawyer, someone who handled fraud and digital security. I didn't want to wait for damage to be done. I wanted to stay 3 steps ahead, even if I didn't understand the whole game yet. That same day, I also reached out to someone I never thought I'd call, my ex's old best friend. They had a falling out a couple years back, something to do with a secret that ended their friendship. I didn't know the details, but I had a gut feeling she did. She didn't answer the first call. But when I texted a simple message, "I think I know what really happened between you two. Can we talk?" she replied within minutes. We met that night at a diner across town. Her face was pale when I told her what I'd found. She didn't look surprised. She looked relieved. Like someone had finally caught up to the truth. "There's more," she said quietly, leaning in. "A lot more. And you're not the first one she's done this to." That's when my stomach dropped. Not the first? So who came before me? And what exactly had she done to them? I stared at her across the table, trying to make sense of what she just said. I wasn't the first one. Those words hit like a slow punch to the chest. She looked exhausted, like she'd been holding something in for years and finally let a piece slip out. I waited, not wanting to push too hard, but I needed to know. "What do you mean?" I asked quietly. "Who else?" She sipped her coffee like it could steady her nerves, then leaned closer. "Before you, there was a guy named Theo. Worked in tech. They met at a conference. Fast forward a year, and he was gone. Disappeared from social media, moved cities. I only found out later that he had to sell his car and was forced to leave the company after a financial scandal no one ever explained. It didn't make sense at first. My wife had never even worked in tech. But the more she talked, the more it clicked. She wasn't doing this alone. She had a pattern. A method. Get close to someone stable, someone quiet. Slowly isolate them. Use trust like currency, until there was nothing left but wreckage. She and that guy Jay, they'd been running something together for years. She said, "It's not just affairs or emotional games. It's deeper. Strategic. They find people with something to lose, careers, savings, reputations, and they pick them apart from the inside." My stomach twisted. I tried to breathe through the panic rising in my chest. This wasn't just betrayal. This was something else. It was manipulation on a level I didn't see coming. And then she pulled out her phone. "I wasn't going to show you this," she whispered. "But if you're already in it, you should know how far they go." She handed me the phone and played a short video. It was a recording, blurry but clear enough to see faces. My wife, sitting across from a man I didn't recognize. Not Jay. Someone else. She was laughing, holding up a set of keys.